Sugar, let me spill the tea right now. Ryan Reynolds is not the cute, witty charmer you've seen on your screen. Sure, he's made a living cracking jokes and flashing that grin, but behind closed doors, the man's reputation has been dragged through the mud by co-stars, directors, and even Fox News. Yes, Fox News, of all places, went on record calling him out for some shady behind-the-scenes behavior. Why should you care? Because this meltdown isn't happening in some quiet corner. It's blowing up in broad daylight, and everyone from makeup artists to Hollywood A-listers is out here telling the same story. Ryan Reynolds has a fragile ego, a controlling streak, and a nasty habit of making big threats to little people. If that's not wild enough, he's also losing friends left and right. Jake Gyllenhaal used to be his best, but until he suddenly went ice cold. Then there's Rebecca Ferguson, who'd rather act with a tennis ball than share a scene with him. And let's not forget about the big dogs like Quentin Tarantino and Gerard Butler, openly shading him like he's the last person they'd ever want to collab with. But how do we get here? This is the same man who built a brand on being the funniest guy in Hollywood. Turned out, he might just be the biggest control freak in town. People are saying they've had enough of his ego, his temper, and his threats, and the receipts are piling high. So buckle up, because we're diving headfirst into the meltdown that's taking down Mr. Deadpool himself. I'm about to give you every single detail, so you can see why Hollywood's perfect husband might be losing his crown. Let's begin with the bomb Fox News dropped. Ryan Reynolds once threatened to blacklist his personal makeup artist for failing to show up to reshoots on Deadpool 2. Now, missing reshoots can be inconvenient, sure, but normal folks just hire a replacement. Not Ryan, though. He basically said, if you don't come back, you'll never work in Hollywood again. Yes, honey, those are fighting words. According to the leaked account, this makeup artist was out of the country on another job. They had professional commitments, a schedule, all that normal life stuff. But Ryan couldn't handle that. Apparently, he told Fox execs he wanted his personal glam squad there, no matter what. If she didn't comply, he'd use his newfound power to ruin her career. Fox executives weren't thrilled. They might have rolled their eyes, but they'd already given Ryan more power than the average actor. He was basically running the show as producer, writer, and star. The rumor is they had no choice but to do what he said. Imagine that. A major studio bowing down to an actor just so he wouldn't throw a tantrum. It was his way or no way at all. That's not how most big names roll, especially when you can just call up a dozen other artists. But, oh no, Mr. Reynolds wanted his person on his schedule. The entire fiasco exposed his controlling side. The moment the story leaked, fans went wild. Ryan's PR team tried to spin it as a misunderstanding, but people started wondering, is this funny guy just another big-headed bully? Little did they know, that was just the tip of the iceberg. If you think threatening a makeup artist is bad, wait until you hear how he treats fellow actors who cross his path. If you were a fan of the original Deadpool, you probably remember how fresh it felt. Director Tim Miller was a huge part of that, bringing the gritty, irreverent vibe to life. Then came Deadpool 2, and guess who was missing? Tim Miller. He conveniently dropped out over creative differences. Translation: Ryan Reynolds wanted absolute control and wasn't about to share credit with anybody. Tim Miller later made it clear that he didn't sign up to fight over every little decision. Ryan took creative differences to a new level, acting like he was the executive, the creative mastermind, and the star. If you can't keep up, you're out. That's how Tim became a casualty of the Reynolds dictatorship. And Tim wasn't the only one who felt that heat. Marina Baccarin, who played Wade Wilson's love interest in the first Deadpool, got the cold shoulder in the sequel. She went from being the emotional core of the first film to near irrelevant in the second. Word on the street is that she voiced a concern or two about her character or the script. Ryan allegedly didn't like it. Next thing you know, she's relegated to cameo status, barely promoted for the film, and excluded from some press events. But the loudest complaint came from comedic actor TJ Miller, who once sang praises about how hilarious Ryan was. That changed when TJ revealed that Ryan treated him in a mean-spirited way on set, belittling him, making him feel like a second-class citizen next to the star. For a comedic actor like TJ who can roll with some teasing, it had to be pretty severe to call it genuinely rude. He recalled a moment Ryan told him, "Let's do one more take," then humiliated him in front of everyone, saying he was basically just there for a few jokes so they could get back to the real movie. This wasn't fun ribbing among co-stars. It felt like actual hostility. And to be clear, if you turn the comedic relief guy into an upset, open critic, you must have been downright nasty. Ryan's rep as the easygoing star started crumbling fast. Now let's talk about Jake Gyllenhaal. For a minute, They were the best of friends, doing interviews together, buddy-buddy on press tours, gushing about their fun times on the set of the sci-fi flick Life, 2017. The tabloids couldn't get enough of their so-called bromance. Then it all stopped. And when I say stopped, I mean the relationship went from 100 to 0 overnight. Jake Gyllenhaal was asked about Ryan in an interview, and his face changed so fast you could feel the tension through the screen. All he said was, "I have nothing to say about him." Then he clammed up completely. He was done. That's a big statement from an actor as calm and private as Jake. We're talking about someone who refused to blast his ex, Taylor Swift, even after she dragged him in an extended version of a breakup anthem. But Ryan Reynolds? Jake couldn't hide his feelings. He basically gave him the silent, Arctic treatment. What in the world happened between them on Life? Word is that Ryan's controlling ways flared up. If you believe the rumors, he tried to run set decisions, overshadow co-stars, and push people around. Jake Gyllenhaal is nobody's doormat. Maybe he'd had enough. So instead of airing the dirty laundry, he went for the ultimate shade, ignoring Ryan's entire existence. Friends don't just turn cold overnight without a serious falling out. It's safe to assume that behind the scenes, Ryan must have done or said something Jake deemed completely unforgivable. Speaking of Life, 2017, co-star Rebecca Ferguson gave a horrifying account of an insecure, angry colleague who made her so uncomfortable she refused to act face-to-face with them. Instead, she demanded to act toward a tennis ball. Yes, a little green ball, because that was easier than dealing with this toxic person. While Ferguson never dropped a name, we all know who else starred in Life: Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake's out here minding his business, and she clearly had nothing but praise for him in previous interviews. So, it doesn't take a detective to figure out who she was shading. She described this co-star as an absolute idiot with a massive ego, someone who'd lash out when things didn't go his way. It got so bad that she was literally scolded by higher-ups for speaking her truth. They warned her that calling out the star of the movie was too bold and might damage her career. Imagine feeling trapped on set with someone who's not only disrespectful, but holds the kind of power that can silence you if you complain. This is the dark side of Hollywood that casual fans rarely see. When a big-name actor decides you're in their crosshairs, you either toe the line or suffer the consequences. Ferguson refused to let that happen. She stood her ground, no matter how scared she was. The fact that she felt safer looking at a tennis ball than the actual human she was supposed to share scenes with says it all. And that's not the only time we've seen powerful co-stars overshadow or bully others, but Ryan's pattern is starting to look like a broken record. When Quentin Tarantino, a world-famous director known for speaking his mind, dismisses your entire filmography, it's not a good look. He basically said he doesn't even know what Ryan's Netflix movies are, much less watch them. He's not wrong. Ryan has churned out a string of big-budget, straight-to-streaming flicks that get hype for a week, then fade away. Then Gerard Butler, the rugged star of 300 and other blockbusters, was asked about Ryan's movie Free Guy. He openly admitted he'd never heard of it and had zero interest in checking it out. This wasn't even subtle shade. It's like he was saying, "Ryan who? Free what? Nah, I'm good." And let's talk about Chris Columbus, the legendary director behind Home Alone and Harry Potter. Ryan thought he'd get a chuckle by revamping Home Alone into something called Stoned Alone. The concept was a joke, and Chris Columbus had no problem calling it an insult to cinema. You know you messed up when the man behind some of the most beloved family films of all time basically says your pitch is trash. That's a whole lot of A-list negativity pointed straight at Ryan. One could argue these guys might just have different tastes, but honey, the consistency is wild. One or two people throwing shade could be a coincidence, but when half of Hollywood is giving you the side eye, that's a pattern. If you think Ryan Reynolds is only tough on directors and co-stars, wait until you hear how his exes describe him. Scarlett Johansson, an A-list star known for staying quiet about personal drama, hinted that one reason their marriage failed was his passive-aggressive jealousy. Now, she never launched a smear campaign, but the vibe was clear. Ryan had issues with control and ego. Let's rewind to even before that marriage. He was engaged to singer Alanis Morissette for years, and after their sudden split, Alanis released an entire album about heartbreak and insecurity. She didn't name drop, but she didn't need to. All signs pointed to Ryan. She sang lyrics like, "I'm unbelievably insecure," as if capturing the heartbreak he left behind. After cutting ties with Alanis, Ryan seemed to jump quickly into Scarlett's arms. And after Scarlett, he practically sprinted over to Blake Lively. The timeline was suspiciously close, and folks speculated he was overlapping relationships. Some say he wanted a partner he could overshadow in terms of fame. Scarlett Johansson was exploding in popularity. It was rumored that Ryan's ego couldn't handle it. With Blake Lively, he found someone more than happy to play along with the perfect marriage script on social media. But how perfect is it if he's got all these rumors swirling about him controlling every single detail in his professional life, and possibly his personal life too? One ex calling you insecure is bad enough. Two exes, both extremely successful in their fields, saying you're controlling, jealous, and fragile? That's a blazing red flag. For years, Ryan and Blake sold the story of being Hollywood's most adorably sarcastic couple. They troll each other on Instagram with birthday posts, share cute red carpet moments, and pose with that "we're just so in love" energy. Fans ate it up. They crowned them hashtag couple goals. But some folks started side-eyeing how often they use these quirky pranks to distract from controversies. Every time Ryan faced a PR disaster, like rumors about him bumping heads on set, suddenly there'd be a new adorable story or Instagram exchange. People whispered, is all that cutesy stuff just damage control? Because real couples don't have to put on a spectacle every time trouble hits. They just handle it. Now that Fox News itself has published scathing details about Ryan's behavior, it's clear the protective Hollywood bubble has cracked. Studios might have looked the other way before. Hey, he made them money. But the moment powerhouses like Quentin Tarantino and Gerard Butler trashed him, plus multiple co-stars stepping forward, the old image of Ryan, the funny family man, started fading fast. And what about Blake? She's in the middle of her own legal issues with Justin Baldoni, rumored lawsuits swirling left and right. She might not be able to hold up Ryan's image when her own brand is under scrutiny. Fans once thought of them as unstoppable. Now it looks like both are dealing with separate storms. If Ryan's star power dims, will Blake stick around? Or will that PR marriage story get real complicated? It's no coincidence these exposés are coming out now. People in Hollywood love a golden boy, but the minute they decide they're over him, they'll drop receipts so fast it'll make your head spin. Ryan's meltdown is a perfect example of how quickly the industry turns on its own. So, there you have it, friend. Ryan Reynolds is not the squeaky clean legend your timeline's been telling you about. Between threatening a makeup artist's entire career, chasing away directors who dare to have a vision, falling out with co-stars like Jake Gyllenhaal, and leaving folks like Rebecca Ferguson so traumatized they'd rather talk to a tennis ball than him, the man has racked up quite a rap sheet. And it's not just random crew members or smaller names calling him out. Heavyweights in Hollywood are ready to see him vanish off their sets. Tim Miller left, Quentin Tarantino rolled his eyes, Gerard Butler feigned ignorance, and Chris Columbus slammed his attempts at comedic remakes. Meanwhile, ex-wives and fiancés have long painted him as insecure, petty, and power-hungry. All that perfect husband talk with Blake Lively looks more and more like a PR charade. The truth is, you can't keep a mask on forever. Sooner or later, if you threaten enough people, push enough boundaries, and try to wield power you don't deserve, folks will call you out. Hollywood's shield is gone, and the meltdown has begun. Ryan Reynolds might still plaster that sarcastic grin everywhere he goes. But behind the scenes, the meltdown is real, and the illusions are cracking wide open for the world to see. Thanks for supporting the Gossip Wire. If you made it this far in the video, make sure to like and subscribe for more of the hottest celebrity news online.